I remember the articles from magazines back then. It was always about, she looks great, she's lost the weight, she's had a baby, but she's snapped straight back into shape. She's gained 2 stone post breakup. It was always focused around. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and if you are new here, my name is Alexis Blake. I am a trans woman and I share my life stories and opinions on social media. I hope you're all having a good week. I'm having a really good week. I've been doing some decorating. Side note, I know. Before we dive into the video, before I forget, if you do enjoy my content, please like, subscribe and hit that notification bell. I post a couple of videos every week talking about lots of different things. So let's dive into today's video. One more disclaimer before we do. I have 2 broken nails. Excuse me. I'm literally going to get them done after I've finished filming, so I'm so sorry if they're distracting. So what are we talking about today? The 90s and noughties was a weird time. I was watching the Victoria Beckham documentary recently. If you haven't seen it, I enjoyed it, so I personally would recommend it. There is a few critics saying that it was just a relaunch of her fashion brand Victoria Beckham, possibly. If it is clever PR, props to her for doing it. But I enjoyed it. It was really interesting. It was about her life, her growth to fame through Spice Girls being Posh Spice, and then the following from that when it's basically her entire life up until now. And I thought it was fab. A part of the documentary was discussing how reporters and journalists spoke about her in the noughties and early 2000s, which wasn't very favourable, specifically around weight. So I do want to do a bit of a trigger warning here. This video will be focusing on weight and images of celebrities who were called lots of awful things. So if that's not something that is for you, it might not be the best video for you to watch. If that sounds like something that you're interested in, grab a cup of tea, coffee, glass of wine, whatever floats your boat. Let me know in the comments below. I did have a juice, but I finished it and it was in Liam's cup because I can't find mine. We're also going to react to some clips, some viral videos from the noughties and millennium of celebrities just being like female celebrities, because of course this only affects women. Men's bodies weren't really gone after, only women's. Let's dive into it.
When you have an eating disorder, you become very good at lying.
People felt it was okay to criticise a woman for her weight.
I've been everything from porky posh to skinny posh.
The 51-year-old says her struggle started in theater school after being bullied for her weight. The intense scrutiny that came with the Spice Girls only made it worse.
I was weighed on national television when Brooklyn was 6 months old. Get on those scales on television. Have you lost the weight? You know, and we laugh about it and we joke about it when we're on television. But I was really, really young, and that hurts.
Okay. Oh. First question I have, why were men, well, it might not always be men, let me rephrase that. First question I have, why were people so obsessed with women's weight and their figure and their body size? It's, looking back, it's a little wild to see the amount of focus and pressure that was put on, especially female celebrities, because that's what we're going to be talking about today. I remember the articles from magazines back then. It was always about, she looks great, she's lost the weight, she's had a baby, but she's snapped straight back into shape. She's gained 2 stone post breakup. It was always focused around weight gain and weight loss. And it's so damaging to people reading that sort of material. I think Victoria, coming from a similar background, Victoria did train in performing arts, so did I. And it was a slightly different time when she went to the performing arts school. It was a bit more brutal, especially around what you ate and how much you weighed. I have heard rumours that some of these schools did weigh the students way back when. When I was there, that wasn't allowed anymore, but they were weighed, and if they gained over a certain amount of weight, they could have lost their place in the school. So as you can imagine, that's not setting up someone up for success to have a healthy mindset with their body and eating. Speaking as personally, I'm not sort of speaking on the behalf of Victoria Beckham there. So as she's gone into the Spice Girls, obviously intense scrutiny from the world, a lot of love, a lot of positivity for girl power, but there was also so much negativity around their appearance and so much focus on that. And I think to see, obviously after they broke up and she had her first baby, 6 months later to be weighed, that clip, honestly, I've seen it quite a few times. I've seen some of the other Spice Girls get weighed on that show. It makes me so uncomfortable. So I have a couple of questions. for anyone who's seen these clips before, one thing I want to say as well, the host did come out and do an apology saying that he was encouraged to do that. I mean, it's better than nothing, but still, you were complicit in doing it. So with Victoria Beckham going on, I've seen that clip, like I said, a few times. Obviously, within that world, the fame world, that might have been normal. But to the consumers at home watching this interview, was it normal? Did it feel like a normal thing to watch a woman get weighed on TV? I mean, if it was normal, we're living in a different time, which is great, we've moved forward, but was it normal? That's my question there. And I can't imagine being put in that position where if she said no to getting weighed, she would have been a bore, a stickler, a party pooper. She would have been like looked at it negatively. So it was the only option I would imagine she felt like she had to do. So it is heartbreaking, to be honest, the amount of scrutiny. This is what started my sort of deep dive into the noughties and 90s on female celebrities and how they were scrutinised their weight. I then started to look further into it, and half of me is like, I'm glad I did, because it's really eye-opening. But then the other half of me is like, I didn't need to look into it. It's just heartbreaking. So we're going to react to some. We do have a positive ending though, so stick around for that. Let us watch a woman explain how different celebrities through this time period were spoken about.
Let's look at some women that my generation called fat. This is Britney Spears in 2007. She was referred to as a whale during this VMA performance. In 2009, one article was entitled, "How Jessica Rolls," because of her abominable back fat. Snooki and I have never exactly gotten along, but she was held up as a plus-size woman in the early 2000s. Girl. This is Kate Winslet at the premiere of Titanic. James Cameron gave her the nickname Kate Weighs a Lot. A major plot point in Bridget Jones's Diary is how out of shape Renee Zellweger is. Here's her in the movie. She weighed 136 pounds. That makes her an American size 6. Here she is in Chicago. Obviously a very different look, which led to stories like this. Bridget Jones or Bridget Bones? Renee Zellweger just can't decide. Because sure, this is all her idea. My point is, as a woman or a man, you're going to be judged for how you look, but the most important thing is how you feel about yourself and whether or not you are healthy. And that looks different for everyone.
I love that. I love the ending. I love that so much. One thing that really surprised me the most, so I'm a UK size 14, which would be an American size 10. I'm good with my body. I mean, I have things that I've taken me time to love about myself, like all of us. I have my insecurities, but overall, I love my body, and it's taken a long time. But the reason I bring that up is I'm a UK size 14. All of those women in those clips were absolutely 2 or 3 sizes smaller than me. So for them to be scrutinised for their weight and have all these awful things said, that's what the biggest shock was to me, because they were all so slim still. Before social media went crazy and viral and we all got it, I remember reading magazine articles, buying 1 or 2 magazines every week. And I'd be reading like Heat and OK and Take a Break and all those sorts of things. And the covers would always feature, it would be always to do with appearance within weight, always. The main article would always be about that. And I think it did have some sort of effect on me, absolutely. But I think for me personally, being trans and having gender dysphoria, I think that played a lot into my body as well. So I think it was a sort of both things from both sides. Just something I wanted to raise there. Let us look at Kate Winslet. So this is the final sort of celebrity we're going to look at. I love Kate Winslet, by the way. Titanic is my all-time favourite movie. This has a happy ending, which I'm really glad about. So let's look at how Kate Winslet was spoken about during the time her career launched with Titanic.
Stars. While Titanic made Winslet a star, she says it came at a cost. Just listen to how she was ridiculed for her weight.
Kate's a little melted and poured into that dress. And, she just needed 2 sizes large and it would probably have been okay.
I gasped at how cruel some of that coverage was of you at that time.
I know. It's absolutely appalling. What kind of a person must they be to do something like that to a young actress who's just trying to figure it out?
Did you ever get face to face with any of those people?
I did get face to face.
What'd you say?
I let them have it. I said, I hope this haunts you.
It was a great moment. It was a great moment because it wasn't just for me. It was for all those people who were subjected to that level of harassment. It was horrific. It was really bad.
The thing that shocked me the most about that coverage, the coverage example that was used, I have seen that clip before where Kate's in the dress at the premiere. She looked beautiful, by the way. The most shocking thing about it was a woman's voice. So that really caught me off guard. Like, I don't know. I'm not going to say too much more on that. It just surprised me it was a woman's voice doing that. She looked great. So it's just clearly there was a lot of toxic, negative. It was just used to sell papers and newspapers. On a more positive spin, the fact that she could confront these people saying these awful things, to have her moment and say, I hope this haunts you, I think that's a beautiful thing. Just going back on something I spoke about earlier, obviously, a lot of these sorts of articles we saw in newspapers and magazines where journalists were controlling the narrative of what we were reading. I think now with the rise of social media, and we all have our own voices now, so we can all speak out on injustices and what we think is good and bad, I think it has a really negative side effects of social media, don't get me wrong, but I think the positivity it has brought, I think a big part of what we allow to be said about people, I think that change has come from social media, because we can all speak up. If we saw that news article now, if that clip came out, we would all be like, this is vile, this is disgusting, you can't talk about people like that. And it creates a precedent, a new precedent that I think has drastically improved over the years. Don't get me wrong, there's different things now that I think hyper focused on for women to look like. And I don't want to tread on women's toes here when I say that, but speaking as a trans woman, I want to emulate obviously a woman as much as possible. And then I think a little trip that I almost fell into is looking at standards on social media, that these unachievable standards that are so high with lots of different things, long hair, fillers, Botox, more surgeries, BBL, like lots of things. And I'm not saying these things are bad, but I think if you're getting them to follow a trend on social media, that's maybe not the best reason to do it. There's always going to be a beauty standard, and it's so frustrating because we're all so different and we can't all look the same, because if we all look the same, how boring would that be? I'm not going to go on to a rant about it because I could rant about it. It's just sad that these beautiful, strong, fabulous, talented women had to go through that to just do their careers, just do their art and be creative, to then be judged in such a way like that. I can't imagine that. Do you remember the noughties and 90s? Like, do you remember reading all these, and was it normal back then? And did people have much to say about it? Or was it just sort of, it was just done and it was a thing? I would love to read your comments and thoughts on what we have looked at today. Again, I hope this video hasn't affected anyone too negatively. I know it's quite a sensitive topic, talking about weight gain, weight loss, things like that. But I want to thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this kind of video, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. I post 1 to 2 videos every week of me talking about lots of different things, and me and my husband Liam have our podcast, The Blake Debate, as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all have a lovely week, and I will see you in the next one. And I'm going to have my nails fixed by next time, I promise. Goodbye!